Yo, what's up, everybody? You are listening to the Amish Apple Podcast, episode 1. My name, as a lot of you may not know, is Nelson. I go by Amish Country Mets fan. I have a YouTube page that hopefully you may be watching this on. Um, I have a Twitter account at Amish Country Met. Um, just started doing Mets content about a month ago. Started up this Twitter page, I mean, YouTube page, and I'm at about 105 around there subscribers in. Um, so, yeah, I'm just decided to move into doing a podcast here, um, working out the kinks. This is my first one. This is a solo thing, so I'm learning the ins and outs all by myself. Um, well, I do have some help. I have some friends. Uh, Shout out to my guys at Shay and Sons, Keith and Keyshawn, James from the Mets Way. He has the Nolan Show on his YouTube. My guy Chris from the What's the Static podcast. Check his YouTube out. Anyways, didn't want to get in a bunch of shout outs there right off the jump, but those are my buddies, and we've all been helping each other out, and I appreciate all of them. So yeah, I just wanted to start out um, with a little bit of an introduction there. Um, a little more about me, I guess. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, from Bushwick. Um, Moved out to what I call Amish country out here. It's called Hartstown, Pennsylvania. It's lived here since about 2007. Actually, and in 2006, I moved out this area. 2000 beginning 2007, I moved to this town specifically. Um, the reason I go by Amish Country Mets fan is while this isn't Lancaster, where like almost everybody's Amish, this is uh, there's a lot of Amish in this area, and most of my neighbors are Amish. If you've seen any of my YouTube videos, I'm out on a farm. Um, Across from me is an Amish farm. Right by me is an Amish farm. So you'll see, like that's where a lot of my content, like I try to mesh the Mets content with the country living Amish stuff. Um, so you'll see like pigs in the background, a barn in the background, stuff like that. I think it's cool. Other people have told me it's unique and cool. So I hope if you're listening to this, or you'll go check it out on my YouTube. If you are just watching this and haven't checked out my other videos, please check them out. So yeah, and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that very much. Like I said, just trying to grow this as much as possible. So episode 1, that was my intro. Sorry, a little long winded. Um, the first thing I want to talk about with our Mets is the pitching woes. We could get started in all kind of different directions. I'm gonna kind of do a recap um, of how the month has gone, and I'll do that shortly. But I wanted to start to talk about the pitching woes because that's my personal biggest concern is the pitching. I know a lot of people are worried about the hitting. I think the hitting will come around. Um, I personally am not too worried about the hitting. Um, it's streaky for sure, but I think it is something that will work itself out. Um, Pitching though, while we do have guys coming back, Verlander, who's been hurt, he just pitched a rehab game yesterday. He looks solid. He's supposed to make his first start against the Tigers, I believe, on May the 3rd. Scherzer should be coming back from suspension soon. That'll depend on how the rain works out this weekend. If any of those games get rained out and not made up, then he's going to have to wait a little longer to come back because wouldn't have served the 10 games yet. And I'll get into that a little bit too, the sticky stuff and why he was suspended and all that once we do the recap. But yeah, the first thing I want to get into is the pitching. So one of the biggest concerns is the fact that our starting pitching, has not given us any length. So I'm going to run through our main guys, and I'm not going to include Cookie in this because he's been hurt for a little bit, but his numbers aren't any better. So let's start out with yesterday's starter, David Peterson. He's 1-4 with a 7.34 ERA in 5 starts he's had. So his very first start was, I believe, against Miami. He went 5 innings, 8 hits, 1 run. See if you notice a pattern here. Next start, 4 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs. These are all losses so far, by the way. This next one's a loss as well. 5.2 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs against San Diego. His next start, his only win, mind you, 6 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs against LA. So even in his win, he got shelled, but that's the most innings he gave us. 5 innings pitched his next start against San Francisco, 7 hits, 7 runs. And then yesterday in the rain-shortened game, 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs against Atlanta. So, yeah, the pattern there, obviously, if you can't tell, it's 5 innings, man. 5 innings. One start, he went 6. One start, he went 5 2/3. But other than that, it's 5. The one start, he went 4. It's just not good. And then we'll get to another guy, Tyler McGill. Well, Tyler's results have been a little better, but still, you'll see the common theme. First start, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs at Miami. Next start against Miami, 6 innings. This was his best start. 3 hits, no runs. Start after that against San Diego, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. Against LA, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. And then his last start was a no decision against San Francisco, 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. So again, no length. One start, he went 6 innings. I will do Max as well, even though he hasn't had as many starts. So his first start, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs. His next start against Milwaukee, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 5 runs. Against San Diego, 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs. And then against LA, I mean, it was shortened because he got thrown out. But 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs. So, again, same pattern. Nobody's giving us a length. And then my favorite pitcher so far this year, but again, he's been spotty, Kodai Senga. Kodai has not only not given us length, but he's been walking a lot of guys. So we'll start his first start against Miami, 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 8 Ks. Again, he's striking people out too, which is nice to see. Next start also against Miami, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. That arguably that's his best start so far. You know, he had more Ks in the first game. Next start against Oakland, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 7 Ks in that one. That was a no decision. Against San Francisco, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, 6 Ks. Against Washington, his last start, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. So the results are decent. Oh, and then his walks. 4 walks his first start, 4 walks his second start, 4 walks his third start. And then the last 2 starts, he had 3 apiece. So the walks are an issue, man. And I know he's adjusting. He's got to adjust to a new ball. He's adjusting the climate. He's used to pitching indoors. He's adjusting to new language. Just everything about moving from Japan to the majors it's a lot. And yeah, I mean, he's good, and I think he's going to be a lot better. But obviously, he's not Shohei Ohtani. He didn't just come in and start dominating. Shohei, I think, pitching wise, struggled a little bit at first. So it's not. I'm not too worried about him. I think he's going to come around. I think McGill is solid enough that you could keep him in the rotation for a little bit. Long term, I'd like to see him out as well. David Peterson's the guy for me that I have no confidence in. time and time. I mean, he hasn't had a good start. He had one good start. Actually, yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe you could consider the 5 2/3, 2 runs against San Diego. That was a good one, and then the 5 innings, 1 run to his first start. That's it. Every other start, he was putrid to me. Like he just his stuff just doesn't it doesn't look like stuff that's gonna fool anybody. Um, and it's tough. I don't know, man. I'm worried about him, and hopefully with Verlander and Max coming back, um, that'll make him expendable. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what I'm hoping. Listen, I don't. Cookie Carrasco's another guy. I don't. Whenever he decides he's coming back, I think he's shot too. I guess if we needed, it depends. I guess if our guys come back, we got obviously Verlander would be 1 or Max, whatever. Verlander, Max 1 and 2. Kodai's are 3. So then we got to fill the 4 and the 5. To me, Peterson's out. Lucchese's come up, and he's been actually probably our best starter so far this year. Do you keep him in there in the 5 slot? That's an option. McGill, obviously the other option. And then there's Budo. To me, Budo, another guy, he walks too many guys. His command is really spotty. So I don't know, man. It's to me, if it were me, I'm going Verlander, Max, Senga, McGill, Lucchese. That's my 5 until Quintana hopefully comes back, and maybe we in the summer we make a trade for a starter, because our minor, that's another thing. I'll get into that in future episodes, but our minor league pitching depth is not good, man. It's really not. So that's my thoughts on the pitching concerns. I want to move on to something a little more positive. Well, for some people it's positive. For other people, it's not that positive. But the rookies. So Brett Beatty and Francisco Alvarez did not break camp with the Mets. Many people were upset, especially about Beatty. Not so much about Alvarez. I think Alvarez did need some more seasoning, and he's really only up now because Narvaez got hurt. But they are finally up. Escobar got off to a horrendous start, so Beatty needed to come in, and he's produced so far, man. He's looked a couple shaky plays at third, but it's growing pains. He's a rookie. But at the plate, man, I like his swing. I like his approach. He's hitting the ball hard. I think he's here. I think he's here to stay. Hopefully, no injuries, nothing like that. But I think that's our third baseman going forward. I need Buck to lay off this whole. He did start him yesterday against Fried. That was good to see. We can't be platooning the kid. Just let the kid go. He should get the majority of the starts. I understand he wants to get Escobar some reps, but Beatty's the guy, man. And then Alvarez, again, and this is my frustration with Buck, and a lot of people's frustration with Buck. You gotta if he's up here, you gotta let him play more. He's shown that the more consistent at bats he gets, the better he looks at the plate. He's starting to come around. He's got hits in a few games in a row. He just looks more comfortable at the plate. He's not flailing at pitches so much. He's not swinging at everything. A little more patient. He's good, man, and he's not bad defensively either. His pitch framing he's up there in like the 90th percentile of pitch framing. Like, Yeah, maybe balls in the dirt. He could be a little better. But listen, Tomas Nido can't hit, and he hasn't shown that he's capable defensively like he did last year. Last year, I'll give him credit. Some people don't were like, he's always sucked. I think last year he was serviceable enough, and he's as a backup catcher. I don't mind him, but he needs to be the backup. He cannot get starting reps on a team that's looking to win. I'm sorry, he's not good enough. So, Tomas Nido, if you're not gonna play defense at an elite level, bro, you got to go. That's my views on that. Um, so yeah, that's the rookies. I think, and then I got into it a little bit. I want to talk about it more in future episodes. Um, Mauricio and Vientos. So a lot of people want. I don't know. I feel like almost at this point, Mauricio is getting more of the let's call him up, let's call him up. But a lot of people want both guys up. And I don't disagree with that sentiment. I just know the Mets philosophy and how they go about things. They like to take it slow with these guys. Vientos, I think, has a better chance maybe because he's been in the AAA longer. Problem with Vientos is he has no position. He's a DH, but we can use a DH. Tommy Pham from the right hand side has been putrid. So he started out okay, but now he's like 0 for 19 in his last few at bats. Like, that's not good, man. And it's funny because Vogelback, I think, is solid enough. I wish we all wish he'd show some more power. I know people get frustrated because he's too patient at times, but he's solid enough. I think Vogelback gets lumped. The problem is Vogelback gets lumped in where we've had pretty bad production as a whole from the DH spot. But since he gets lumped in with the other half of his platoon, I think people hate on him because overall the DH spot looks bad, but he hasn't had that right-handed platoon mate in his time here that has done anything. Last year it was rough and he was horrible. This year it's Pham and he's horrible. So we have to, if we're going to have Vogie platooning, we need a right-handed complement that's good and that can hit for power. And that's where Vientos comes in. Why are we so dead set against giving him a shot when he's in the minors consistently raking? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. My only thing that I could think of is that the Mets view him more as a trade chip and they just want him to keep building value in the minors. And then come summer, they hope a team likes him enough that we can get a decent piece for him. That's how I view it. I could be completely wrong. If I am, you can call me out on that. And that brings me to Mauricio because I have a similar feeling there. Mauricio, for the longest time, they would not move from shortstop. Ronnie Mauricio is not going to play shortstop for the New York Mets unless, knock on, there's like a catastrophic injury and Lindor can't play. Maybe. But obviously, we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. We pray that's not going to happen. But anyways, Mauricio is not our shortstop. Mauricio is not our third baseman because that's where Beatty's playing. Mauricio is not our first baseman because hopefully we lock up Alonso and he's in there for a while. And now this is where it's interesting because they moved Mauricio to second base. My choice would have been to play Mauricio in the outfield because our outfield depth sucks and we don't really have a lot of guys in the upper minors ready to fill in. But they chose to move him to second. You could argue, okay, second, from short to second is an easier transition. Okay, I'll give you that. But Jeff McNeil's our second baseman. Now, you'll tell me Jeff McNeil can play the outfield and he can play it well. Yes, that is true. But I personally prefer to leave McNeil at second base. I think him and Lindor have a good thing going up the middle. I think their relationship has obviously improved a ton. I think they have chemistry together. I wouldn't want to ruin that by putting a rookie at second with him. And I don't know. I don't like that idea. In a jam, if we have to, sure. McNeil's already been doing it. He's playing some games out there and out of the outfield. But I prefer consistently to play McNeil at second. My preference. Some might say, whatever. He's fine. He's fine in the outfield. And that's your prerogative. I'm just telling you how I feel. So, Mauricio's mostly played short, recently moved to second. Mauricio is crushing the ball. But what we have to remember is, what do the Mets pride themselves on? What's their philosophy? And they've gotten away from it recently, and that's, I think, one of the reasons we struggled. Get on base. It's all the money ball theory. What does he do? He gets on base. The Mets like guys that get on base. Not just base hits. They want guys that are going to walk. They want guys that have plate discipline. That's why they love Vogie so much. Ronnie Mauricio, while he is crushing the ball, has shown that he doesn't have the plate discipline down in AAA. Before, I think he walked last night. Before that, he hadn't walked in 13 straight games. Now, again, this isn't my thing. There are plenty of hitters in Major League Baseball that are very good, that don't walk a lot, but they mash, they hit homers. Maybe Mauricio can do that for us. I would give him a shot to do that for us. But when I put on my Billy Epler hat, my Buck Showalter hat, I know the organizational philosophy, and I know that they prefer a guy that's gonna show can work a count and get on base with a walk just as much as hitting a homer. You could argue that's a dumb philosophy. Listen, I'm not the guy. It's not me. I just call it like I see it. And to me, that's the issue right now. Mauricio will not get called up until he shows he can do a better job with taking walks and just getting on base in general. I mean, he is getting on base a lot, but it's all because of hits. And I'm sorry, it's just not going to be as easy to get that many hits in the majors. Like the minor league pitching, the step from minor league pitching, especially AAA pitching, to major league pitching it's crazy. Like, and the kids that have come up have shown it. Like, Beatty's doing pretty solid, but he didn't look first few games. He had an adjustment period. Alvarez has had an adjustment period. And these are guys that are way higher regarded than Ronnie Mauricio ever was. So I'd say temper your expectations. If you expect Ronnie Mauricio, Mark Vientos on this team, and then not only that, but then if you expect them on this team and to like produce a lot, I'd just temper the expectations. I would still give it a shot. The way our DH spot is right now, I would give it a shot. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think what we're going to see, like with Vientos, they might package them together for all I know. These guys are playing their way onto another team. They're going to be trade chips. Again, I could be wrong. I'm no expert. I'm just a fan commenting like everybody else. We all have our own opinions. That's the way I see it. So that's where I'm at on the rookies. We're gonna do just a month recap and close this out, man. I don't want to do too long of an episode. I'm getting my feet wet here. This is the first one. So I don't know. Let's just take it from the start here. So, well, let's where we are right now. So the Mets are 15-12, second place in the NL East. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They just lost 2 or 3 to the Nats, and then they lost the first game in the Brave series. So right now, there's a little bit of that panic city attitude on Mets Twitter. I'm not to that point. Not ready to panic. Not ready to panic because I know our offense is better than what they've shown lately. And we do have pitchers coming back. And I think that will boost our rotation. And our bullpen's been really good, by the way. So that's why I'm not panicking. Plus, it's only April, man. I know people hate to hear that. Oh, it's only April. It's only April. But it is only April. Yes, it's almost May, but still, like April, May, these guys are just still getting their feet wet. They're still getting in a stride. As long as you don't fall crazy behind, I think it's okay. And to be honest, me personally, a lot of people might disagree with this. Me personally, I'm not worried about winning the division. I am worried about making the playoffs and getting hot at the right time. That's what we need to do. The Braves can win the division by 20 games. Fine, I don't care. But if we still get into the playoffs, I'm happy. A lot of people might disagree with that. People might say, "Oh, you don't want to play that first series because your arms are old and yada yada yada." I get that. My counterpoint to that is, I don't know that I want to sit for a week and get my guys out of a groove. The Phillies proved last year you can be that last wild card and make a run to the World Series. It's possible. I'm not saying I want to be the Phillies. I hate the Phillies too, but I think it's possible. And so my main concern is just making the playoffs. Obviously, I'd love to win the division. If we win the division, great, fine, dandy. But I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it makes that much of a difference other than hanging a banner. It's my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine. Drop a comment. Let me know. I'll say this now. Probably say it 500 times. I'm trying to grow this, so I'm sorry if you get annoyed. But like, comment, subscribe on the ticker there on the bottom. Subscribe to my YouTube at Amish Country Mets Fan. Follow me on Twitter at Amish Country Met. And then, drop a like and a comment. Rate, please, if you're listening. This should be on all the podcast platforms at some point. So rate that for me if you can. And so anyways, sorry to get off on that tangent, but it was in my head, so I had to do it. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Start of the year, we get the Verlander news that he's hurt. Obviously, people aren't too happy about that. But we take 3 or 4 from Miami. Good start. Mets are opening day. Like, they had a championship for opening day. Like, I think we'd win it. We have the best record opening day. So 3 or 4 from Miami. Then we go to Milwaukee and we get punched in the mouth. That Milwaukee series was ugly. That Milwaukee series had people losing their minds, me included. I was not happy. I made a rant because I was not impressed by Escobar's play. I didn't think we were doing ourselves a service by leaving Beatty in AAA. I was upset. A lot of people were upset. Turns out Milwaukee's actually not a bad baseball team. I think that was another reason that made people more upset, because everybody had this illusion that Milwaukee sucked, and I don't think that's the case. But anyways, so we move on from there. We go to Miami, or Miami comes to us. We win 2 or 3 from Miami. San Diego comes in, take 2 or 3 from them. Things are starting to click a little bit. We go out west and we get hot. Win what? I believe it was. We started the West Coast trip 7-1. 8 runs in LA, 9 in San Francisco, 7 in San Francisco. We started it off with 17 in Oakland. So the offense started clicking. And this is that point I make when it comes to the offense and everybody freaking out. This was only a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. You cannot tell me this team went from that scoring that many runs to just forgetting how to hit and they're going to suck all season. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I just believe that this is a streaky offensive team and it's going to be up and down there for a while. We do need to shore up that DH spot. I know people freak out about the bottom of the order. It actually doesn't look as bad when you play Beatty and Alvarez. We need to work out that third outfield spot, and we need to work out the DH spot. Because Canna's serviceable. I don't hate Canna as much as some people, but to me, Canna should be a fourth outfielder. We don't have that luxury right now. He's our third outfielder. But I think for us to improve, that's one of the moves I would make. I need him to be a fourth outfielder. Like, if we could get another solid everyday outfielder, that would be amazing. And then, obviously, we already talked about the DH spot and what we need out of that. So, we come home we end that San Francisco series. We took the first 2. We lose the last 2. That left sour taste in a lot of Mets fans' mouths. I get it. Didn't look great. But I was like, all right, that's fine. We'll come home. We got the Nets. Take 2 or 3 from the Nets. No. Josiah Gray comes in, locks us down, shuts us down. We looked lifeless. Got shut out. And then Mackenzie Gore the next night comes in, does the same thing. What I will say about that, we need to remember, I'm not going to get into the jet lag thing, please. Oh, God, that was an argument that I wish I hadn't seen. Everybody's freaking out about, you're making excuses and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not an expert on jet lag. Maybe it had a little bit to play in it, but to me, okay, it wasn't jet lag. I'm just going to say that. What it was to me, though, Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore, while they haven't shown the results quite yet, these are 2 very highly regarded pitching prospects that came over in trades for big-time players. And if they live up to their potential, are going to be a thorn in our side for years to come. We did not get shut down by scrub pitchers. We got shut down by 2 very young pitchers with a lot of potential. I think one of the reasons, and hand up, I did it too. Everybody saw Josiah Gray's numbers against us from last year and from the year before and said, oh, man, we should light this guy up. He's a different pitcher this year. And I did preface that in one of my videos. I said, listen, he's got bad numbers against us. I think we'll hit him. But he's been pitching better, and he's changed up his pitching this year. There's a lot more off-speed stuff. He does mixes in this cutter. He got away from just the regular four-seam fastball. He looks sharp, and he made us look bad. And then Mackenzie Gore, not only is he a promising young pitcher, but he's a lefty. And the one freaking thing that we haven't been able to figure out, and I feel like this has been for years, is lefty starting pitchers. It drives me insane. I know it drives other Mets fans insane. We cannot hit lefties to save our lives. I don't get it. I don't know. But some will say, oh, well, that's an excuse. Dude, it is what it is. He was a good lefty, and he shut us down. Next night, we did get a win, 9-8. That was another one. People say, "Oh, it shouldn't have been that close." Blah blah blah. Listen, a win is a win. We got it, and the offense was clicking, so that was a good thing. But we turned around last night. That's a game we shouldn't. I don't think we should have started, but they wanted to get a game in. I get it. Um, Freed again, another dominant pitcher. Like stuff, man. We can hit him though. I don't know. It's just with that weather and just we didn't get the opportunity to come back, and then we got Peterson. Just he didn't put us in a good spot anyways. So he started off good, but I don't know. I don't trust David Peterson at all. I don't think I ever will. He'd have to show me a lot. So that's where we're at. We bring it to present day, and then that's where we're looking at. We got a team with starting pitching concerns, with a bullpen that I think is doing better than expected with the absence of Diaz. So let's touch on these. Sorry, going back a little bit again, but trying to recap. It's been a month, so trying to catch up. So Diaz got hurt before the season started, so we lost our closer. That was rough. Hate to see it. Hope he comes back better than ever whenever he does get back. Some say he wants to come back this year at the end of the year. I don't know that that's going to happen, but we'll see. I won't put anything past him because he's determined, and I know that he's got that dog in him. So that happened. Obviously, we touched on Verlander getting hurt. He hasn't pitched a game for us yet. Let's touch on the one thing I want to touch on is the Max sticky stuff situation. He got suspended for 10 games when that whole ump checked him and he thought his hand was too sticky and there was sticky stuff in his glove. And then he told him to wash his hands. And Max says that he claims he was told to wash it with alcohol, and that just made it stickier. If you watched ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, David Cohn did the test with the alcohol and the rosin, and the ball stuck to his hand pretty good. My boy Keith from Shea and Sons, he did a video on his YouTube doing the little experiment. Same thing. He got that sticky residue on his hand. So yeah, do I think Max was cheating? Personally, no. I think he was using the normal rosin crap, and then they told him, I don't know why they told him to wash his hands with alcohol. I think some people were insinuating that he wasn't told that he knew that the alcohol would make it stickier, so that he went ahead and washed it with that. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think he's a veteran. I don't think he would want to be put in that situation. I think Phil Cuzzy's a jackass. I don't know. It is what it is. He got suspended. I think he's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder, and I think he will improve. So that's my hope, at least. We'll see. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm no expert. So moving forward, we're finish up this month with the last couple games against the Braves. We got supposed to have 3 more, but today looks like it might get rained out. Tomorrow looks like it could get rained out. And then the last game would be Monday. I think the weather does look good Monday. So we might, I guess, if I had to guess, if the next 2 get rained out, I would assume we'd get a doubleheader on Monday, maybe. And then a future doubleheader at another time. If just one gets rained out, then I guess we could get a doubleheader just on Monday. So we'll see. After that, we move on. We go to Detroit. Verlander gets to face his old team over there. Detroit's not a good baseball team. We need to take care of business. But the Mets at times play down to the competition. So that is a worry. But we'll see. I don't think this team is, at the end of the day, and if you want to go back, I'm trying to push this YouTube thing, so I apologize. But if you want to go back and check out what I had to say in my my season preview, I thought this team would win 90 games or without any improvements. So I think that could I still think that could be bumped up a little bit if we get the right guys at the deadline. We maybe let the kids play a little bit more, stuff like that. I think we can bump that up a little bit. I think they're going to make the playoffs. If I had to guess, I'd say we're going to be a wild card. And then it's just a crapshoot. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get hot in October, but we're not even close to there yet. We're not even in May. So we'll be back with another episode. We're going to do this. I'm going to do this once a week. That's the goal. That's the plan. If something big happens, I might do another one. Or if there's something to talk about. Going forward, I think mostly this will be like a weekly recap, just my thoughts on certain things. I think maybe I'll dive into what's going on around the league a little bit. I mean, obviously this is a Mets show, but I think I want to talk about just to touch on some things around the league. I won't do that this episode, but I do want to do that in the future. I want to have some guys on. I got my buddies. I've been on their show. I'd love to have them on here. James, Keith, Chris, from like I said, check them out. Keith is on Shay and Sons with his brother. They have a podcast, YouTube page. Check them out. James is on the Mets Way Pod. Check him out. He also got his YouTube. I believe it's James Nolan Sports. And then my buddy Chris from the What's the Static podcast. It's the DWTS Pod. Find them on YouTube. I just did a collab with Chris. That's on my YouTube channel and his as well. So drop us a subscription. Check us out. I have a video. So just a little rundown of some of the things I do. I touch on it a little bit, but I do a Mets morning after recap of so the morning after every game, I'll do like a little video, just a brief rundown of how everything's going. If you care to check that out, I do I've started doing a Mets bet of the day. So if you want to check that out, I do that every day. I'll pick something to bet on the Met game, and we'll see. So far, I'm 2-4. Last night I took an L, even though the game was only 5 innings. So I feel like that should be a half an L. But yeah, I do like little funny skits. Did like a rant about Max Scherzer and the sticky stuff. I put honey all over my hands, and I make a fool of myself. And then there's the whole the Amish country backdrop of it all. A lot of my videos, you'll see a barn in the background, the bright blue sky. So I don't know. I hope you guys will check it out. I hope you guys listen to the podcast. Continue to listen going forward, and if you got an idea, content you want me to do, topics you want me to talk about, I want to interact with people. I want ideas. So feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what's up, what you want to hear, what you want to see. If you enjoy the show, if you don't enjoy the show, I know this is my first one. I was a little all over the place. I apologize for that. I'm not gonna lie, a little nervous for whatever reason, but I'll get better going forward. Just like my YouTube stuff, I think I'm going to continue to improve on that. So yeah, man, I appreciate you listening. I thank you all. Last thing I'll say, let's go Knicks. Start a series against the Heat tomorrow. Let's go Rangers. Try to get it to game 7 against the Devils. So yeah, man. Let's go. New York sports is hot right now. So thank you all for listening. This has been episode 1, the Amish Apple Podcast. I'm out. Deuces.